When you've been living out of a suitcase, getting back home is really a pleasure. When you've been going from city to city, from hotel room to hotel room, from rental car to rental car, when you finally get home and you can sleep in your own bed, it's a real pleasure. It's getting back to normal. And we all appreciate getting back to normal. But the interesting thing is that sometimes getting back to normal is a sin. The Torah reading in Parshat Tazria tells us that a woman who has just given birth to a child, a new mother, has to bring a sin offering in the aftermath of giving birth to a child. And of course, this is incredibly perplexing. What could this woman have done wrong? She has just created a new life, brought a new soul into this world. She has fulfilled the first commandment in the Torah to be fruitful and multiply. What does this mother have to atone for? Why does she have to bring a sin offering? And this question has perplexed commentaries from the Talmud on down. But there's a fascinating answer that has been given by diverse figures, such as the Kotzker Rebbe and Nechama Leibowitz. And the answer that they give is a profound one. The sin of the new mother is the sin of getting back to normal. Sometimes it's nice to have a normal routine, but sometimes the ordinary, the routine, the average, the regular is a sin. Sometimes it's a sin to leave a peak moment and get back to normal. And what the Torah is telling us is that the new mother who has achieved spiritual heights by bringing a new life into this world will automatically get back to normal. And that's a sin, because peak moments should remain with a person for the rest of their lives. And indeed, the great figures in Jewish history, Moses, who comes to the sneh, who comes to the burning bush, and is told by God that he now has to come and redeem the Jewish people, his life never gets back to normal. When Rabbi Akiva sees a stone that's being worn away by water, by a drop of water that keeps dropping on the stone and has worn it away. And Rabbi Akiva, who at that point, at age 40, is an ignorant shepherd, when he sees that and he says, you know what? Maybe I can change my life. Rabbi Akiva gets that moment of inspiration and refuses to get back to normal. And that is how he becomes a great rabbi. Or even Theodor Herzl, the father of modern Zionism, when he sees the aftermath of the Dreyfus trial, where he sees Frenchmen running into the streets shouting death to the Jews. So at that moment, he has a moment of inspiration and says, you know what? Maybe we need a Jewish state. He doesn't just have that inspiration for a moment. He doesn't have that peak moment of connection just for a few seconds. It changes his life and it remains with him. And Herzl never gets back to normal. And that's the lesson of the newborn mother. It's a sin to get back to normal. Now this year, the state of Israel is celebrating its 61st anniversary. Now let me tell you something. 150 years ago, the thought that there would be a Jewish state in the Jewish homeland would have seemed completely absurd. If you would have gone back in history and spoken to a Jew in the ghetto in Eastern Europe and said, you know what? We will have our own state and we will have sovereignty. They would have thought you're completely crazy. They would have thought it more likely for a colony of Martians to descend on Earth than for the Jews to return to their homeland. But now we have the state of Israel. And unfortunately for too many of us, we've gotten back to normal. We no longer appreciate the inspiration that the state of Israel should give us. We no longer can feel what our parents and our grandparents felt 61 years ago when the state was declared in a room in Tel Aviv where everyone huddled quietly to hear the declaration of the state. We can't feel the power of that moment because we've gotten back to normal. Getting back to normal is a sin. And I tell everybody in this community that they must be at the rally Wednesday, 11 a.m. in Phillips Square. Because even though it's 61 years, even though everything seems ordinary and routine, we cannot afford to commit the sin of getting back to normal. Getting back to normal may feel nice, the routine may feel comfortable, but when you have a peak moment, it's a sin to get back to normal.